we are going to jump into our black box, and we have a full-fledged letter this
Damn.
evening. Not the usual DMs and shit like that. We've got a full-fledged letter where someone is actually asking. Lord help them. They're asking for our advice, and I already know since the both of you are on your petty mode. Yeah, we'll see what that looks like.
I hope it's not relationship advice, because shit, leave them, divorce them, steal their money.
See, this is why Elgin is not approachable in the least bit.
Yeah.
Tonight's letter comes actually from, I believe her name is Lily. At least that's what she goes by in the email. So, yep,
Lily, like Leee.
Actually, it's Lili.
Yeah, that sounds like Layla, but hey, I don't know. Lila.
Hey,
We'll find out, but we'll find out about the story here in a moment. Which one she is?
So what's going on, brothers? I first want to say how much I enjoy your show. The conversations are always interesting and filled with passion and life. I never feel like you guys are fronting for the likes, and I really love that about you all. I've heard you guys make mention of relationship conversations you've had on your Facebook page, but I don't recall you all talking about it here. But I have a situation, and I'm not sure if it's in my head or not. My question is, in this day and age, has a man that tells you he wants to wait to have sex with you put you in the friend zone? I'll be 37 in October, and I know you've had folks on the show to discuss it before, but dating after 35 is a hot dumpster fire. Either the men are already in a settled relationship, married or gay, and it feels like, and I emphasize feels, like all that's left are the fuck boys and game runners. Here's the deal. I met a guy at a quarantine wine tasting back in February or so. Let's call
that sounds
Christian.
Like a good time.
We're the same age. We exchanged numbers and everything was cool. We would talk almost nightly. When we first started talking, it was just a really cool friendship. But we started to get serious, and in our conversations, he said that he was married before. That it only lasted 2 years, but that if he were to ever get married again, he would do things differently. So he's decided not to have sex until he's married. At the time, I thought he was talking shit. You know how you men are. Y'all always trying to do something to get women's guards down. But here we are, 7 months in, and still nothing. I've ever seen anything like this before. I see him maybe every other Saturday. He does private security and sometimes travels, so I don't see him as often as I would like. I haven't met his family because they live across the country, but I've met his friends, so I don't feel like he's been hiding me somewhere. I think that the situation has me in my head because I know I'm a catch, and I haven't pressured him about it. Outside of kissing and touching that shouldn't be done in public, he hasn't attempted anything. And at some point, that heavy petting and kissing isn't enough. At least it's gotten that way for me. And like I said, it's been 7 months in. He's got to be getting it from somewhere, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? Dat Libra Lily. So. I'm gonna let the king of light skin pettiness go ahead and go first.
Oh man,
he's joking. Go ahead now. Give her your rancid advice.
Move on. just move on. And I say that with all sincerity.
No, you don't. You son of a bitch.
I really do. I think there's a number of red flags on the play here. There's a number of things that you should be concerned about. I don't necessarily think that he is doing something on the side behind your back that you should be concerned about. But I think there's a level of insecurity and trauma connected to his failed marriage that has him putting up these illogical and unfair barriers in between. Particularly, I don't know what you look like. You say you're a catch. Now, the fact that you're...
Oh, boy.
God!
Now, damn it.
Hold on.
Disclaimer.
Let me finish, man. Let me finish.
Crush,
Good Lord.
did you
Oh.
catch that?
Jesus.
This nigga on the slide just called her ugly off jump.
Jesus.
Never met her. Just
No.
met her. She's looking for help, and he
Whoa.
basically was like, "Maybe
Oh
it's
man.
you. Maybe your mug is what the problem is. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to." And I'm like,
See, and this is exactly why
And
I
then we're
changed my name to
Listen.
Mr. Catch 22 because I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
And then we're gonna have
continue.
then we're gonna have our quarterly meetings and be like, how come people are signing up for the Patreon? And be like, okay, how about that letter to Elgin calling G6 ugly on the slide?
I did not say that.
I mean,
did not.
I know what you're
Repeat
saying. I
what
know
you
what you're
just
saying.
said. Repeat what
I
you just
said-
said.
You say that you're a catch.
No,
So
repeat the whole thing. You said, I don't know what you look like.
I don't know what
You
I don't
said-
know what you look like. Okay,
And
so I
then
can't
said, you
judge.
say that you're
I
a
can't
catch.
judge whether or not you're a catch. Now that wasn't meant to be disparaging, in all honesty, but there can be some other component there that makes him apprehensive. Because listen, if you guys are having heavy petting sessions and he's not trying to go to that next level based off of that heavy petting session, that's a red flag. And here's why I say it's a red flag. When you are in those type of situations and in those type of close quarters, intimate situations where the only thing that is happening at that moment is a sexual pheromone being released and all both of you are thinking about is sexual engagement, and he at that moment decides to say, no, I don't want to have sex with you, that's a flag on the play. Because you know what? Nobody has that type of conviction to be with a catch, someone that they've had intimate, deep conversations with, authentic conversations. Listen, real conversations, and we done connected, and then we got to a place where we can actually be physical, and he's telling you no? Nah, hell no. He got some other things going on. You should move on.
Slide back.
But that little thing you went to sounds really good. The whole little quarantine wine thing, that sounds dope. That was creative. Whoever did that.
That was pretty dope.
Go ahead, Crush. Crush.
I mean, yeah, she should definitely move on because, I mean, from the outset, the whole idea, you started out as friends, correct? The vibe that you have known from the outset if he was ever interested, if even during that friendship, you would have known if he was interested in you in that way. You didn't indicate. You never indicated that. You know what I'm saying, or even how the friendship evolved necessarily. But also the trauma of that marriage is definitely there. Clearly you don't know as much as you, or he hasn't disclosed what the outcome of that marriage was, what the outcome of that marriage really was for him. And but it's definitely showing in his behavior. 7 months in, now you got to roll. He either he's still dealing with it, or he's dealing with a few situations at the same time. That traveling, that's an opportunity, and he's probably taking.
He's been out of town for a couple.
Out of town, so he's probably taking it. So 7 months in, I mean, to be honest, if he wasn't trying to get at you from the outset, if you wasn't getting those vibes from him from the moment you met him, like,
you guys, I don't.
Then
come
I know
on,
that
man.
I know that we are.
And hold on, before you go, just in all honesty, I know I'm telling this lady to move on. I'm telling her to move on if you don't have the energy to unpack the situation that is leading him to be here.
Well, I mean,
if you don't have the energy,
they're not the age. She's not.
Because
neither of them are the age to.
And that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of work to unpack, and it's clearly you're trying to get your back blown out by this dude, and he don't want to do it. I don't understand. I mean, but if you have the energy and you want to try to unpack and find out why,
it may not be
that's up to you. But time is short, and the dating game is trash. You said it yourself. Hot dumpster fire. So why do you want to hang out with somebody who don't want to do the things that you need them to do?
But maybe
Girl, you better move on. And you're a catch.
Maybe
And you're a
catch.
catch. And you're a catch.
So it shouldn't be a problem.
You're a catch. Go get caught.
It shouldn't be a problem. Probably line them up and knock them down like Dipset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shit. Damn. Be out there like Jada Kiss on stage and just show up at the joint with your Tim's on and get it done.
Like Jimmy off the stage. Just line
Why?
And you're a catch.
Why,
like,
hold up. Why are you guys?
Yo. She should have said that. She should have said that. She really
L is a bad. L is a bad.
She should have said that.
L is a bad.
She should have said that.
And you know,
Kevin Samuels is scrubbing us all.
L unabashedly and without hesitation says shit like this regularly because niggas is gonna be in my DMs with the bullshit.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Lily, Lila, whatever your name is. Drop me a DM.
Come on, man.
I'm just trying to cover all the bases.
Whatever,
you know.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you guys, why do you think that it's a problem for him? Because I know that we are red-blooded males, and for us, that wasn't the game that we were pushing.
There's two reasons why.
Hold on, but at the same time, I don't believe. I'm going to say it's safe to say that none of us have experienced the trauma or whatever he's experienced is causing to be like this.
Right.
Secondly, they said they started off as friends. And if he laid it out on the table to you that this is where he is in life, and you've stuck around for 6-7 months, it sounds like
she explained that.
It sounds like she's trying to blame him now, though.
No, she explained that though. She said that she thought it was game, but then they got into position. They got into several situations where that type of activity could have possibly popped off.
But
so I can see how there's
laid it down.
No. I don't think she's. I don't want. You know. I don't want to say the catch is mad. I don't want to do that.
But no, he didn't say. But I mean, but
she didn't sound mad. She sounded confused.
But when you say lay it down, it's not like he told her, "Oh, by the way, there's a good chance that we won't be having sex." You know what I'm saying? He didn't say that.
I don't know what he said to her specifically.
Yo, no man would ever say that.
But clearly,
not to a catch, we're not.
But clearly,
there's a good chance you might not have sex. By the way, like really? I mean, saving until marriage. I mean,
I think
if there's a religious angle here that she hasn't expressed.
There's two. Yeah, there's two components.
Christian, so
but
she did intentionally. In capital letters too. The Christian was in capital letters.
That's very interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that was indicative, but I think there's, in all honesty, I think in the beginning stages of relationships, when you're just meeting each other and you're learning each other, and that intimacy, that non-physical intimacy is present, it opens you up to want to have the physical intimacy. It leads you down to that path. But I think what he has to be doing, I think the area where he's unfair, you can't put her in situations because it's clear that she wants to have sex. And I don't know if she's communicated to him that that's what her intentions are, but you can't put her in situations where you guys are doing things that would lead to sex.
How do you figure that it's him that's doing it?
No. I said, well, they shouldn't put each other in that situation.
Oh, okay.
And I place the blame on him if she has clearly articulated what she's wanted. If she said that she's wanted sex and you didn't put her in a position where you guys are doing things leading to sex, then the bulk of the responsibility would be on him.
Yeah.
She shares some, but I think bulk of it is. There's two reasons I think that he's having this issue with.
I feel like he is.
The first part is the religious component. I know men and women who will not engage in premarital sex because they've had previous
penetrative premarital sex. Because I know some that'll say the same thing, but they'll get the Gluck 5,000 or they'll eat the box.
Yeah. They'll eat the extra. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, God, do you want to go there? Do you want me to unpack the laundry list of sexual activities that these motherfuckers are doing?
You her ugly, so let's go.
No. God. But the sexual component is big. I know people who have had failed marriages that they put a lot of stock and energy into it, and they have strong Christian conviction and they feel like the reason why their marriages failed is because they crossed that early sexual line with that partner of the marriage that's failed. I want to say to that person, that's bullshit. Let's have a conversation about that one day.
Oh, yeah.
Slide into my DMs and we can unpack that.
There's a strong possibility that marriage could have been a very traditional Catholic or
Christian marriage,
Baptist or even Baptist marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like very traditional.
And also
the sexual. Man, that could be traumatic.
The sexual functions of this brother, like I think that she said that he's 37. It's a good possibility. Yeah, they're same age range. That's not too early for him to be exhibiting and experiencing sexual dysfunction. There can be that. Those are the two causes that I believe. Because even if
I think there's one more. I think there's one more component.
Even if you're not a catch, if you're putting yourself in that type of situation where that intimacy and that arousal is taking place, folks have had, sex with ugly people before. Hey, the first time, it's a mountain climber for every mountain. I mean, what the fuck you gonna do?
No. But I think there is one.
What's the third one?
I think there's one more component. I think that
religious,
also
physical.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily a separate component from what you've already described, but I think that some people go into relationships and sex is the only binding factor between them and their partner, and you get married to somebody on the pretense because the sex is good, and here you are, your marriage falls apart, and you're like, "Fuck it, I don't want to go down that road again." And maybe going to the extreme.
And you don't know anybody in your life that has ever made that type of choice.
No. Oh, excuse me?
You know people in your life who've actually made that? Who have had great sex?
I know.
And said, I'm never going to have great sex again?
I know weirdos. What I'm saying is that given that he said that he was married for 2 years and it fell apart, there is a possibility that what was keeping him together with this person for 2 years was great sex, but he doesn't want sex to be the only thing that binds him to a person. And you see that it makes. I'm not saying what he's doing is rational, and I'm honestly, we all can agree,
it's completely irrational.
This is to the extreme.
It's
but
completely
I'm
irrational.
this is also a possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I'd say either have the conversation with him and say, "Hey, I want to have sex. Can we compromise on that somehow, some way? I don't know what the compromise would look like, and if that's not something he's willing to do, I say move on. Because again, you're a catch.
I mean, as a dude, I don't know how he's not picking up on this vibe already.
Elton, do you need me to remove me from this conversation?
So I mean, he shouldn't be surprised if he shouldn't be surprised if she disappeared.
She shouldn't. But I think she should have the hard conversation, though. She should have the conversation with him. Yeah. And I mean, the least you can do is have a conversation.
There's one more element here, and I think it's, I don't know how possible it is. I presented this to another one of my homeboys. He's much older.
Who was in your DMs also?
No, he's just one of my homeboys, and he's much older than I am. He's older than us here. And as soon as I explained it to him, without hesitation, he said the dude is gay. Off a jump street.
Nah, I won't.
You don't
go
think
that
so?
Far. No, I won't say that. I won't assign him, and I think that's homophobic. By the way, for us to automatically assume because a man does not want to have sex with a woman that they're gay.
Something's wrong with him, right?
Yeah, I think that's homophobic, and I don't think that's the right thing to be thinking. Right. But I do understand the stereotype behind that thought process. But I wouldn't attribute the fact that he's gay.
I mean,
because gay people like sex too.
No, and I can understand. I think that where it becomes interesting is not only that he doesn't want to have sex, but that he's away on travel. And all these elements, because after he said it, he said, "Do they live in Atlanta?" And I was like,
yeah. Your boy is homophobic. You need to have a conversation with him. Is this the baby? Is he you're talking to? Because Jesus, damn, they went to the same school.
The power of the mind. The power of the mind can be insidious. You know what I'm saying? And when that mind is traumatized, you'll be surprised you'll surprise yourself at what
And
you're
men are
suddenly.
fragile too, man.
You'll be surprised yourself at what
Especially
you're
when it comes to
suddenly
sexual
capable of
prowess, it
doing.
can be.
You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
shock yourself at sudden inabilities. You
And
know
the
what I'm
reason
saying?
why I
You'll be
mentioned
how did that?
is-
Why is it happening to me? You know, you
Yeah.
don't understand.
Mm.
And part of it is that
We've done it
men,
before, but for some reason, you know,
black boys, and black kids in general, black boys and black girls are
Hypersexualized.
highly hypersexualized.
Sexualized.
And most black boys' first introduction into sex
It's a
is
destructive
pornography.
one. Yeah,
A destructive one. So with that comes early masturbation, early frequent masturbation. And as much as the data may say, you know, masturbation or releasing is healthy for you in the future, it can do psychological and emotional damage to persons where they can't respond in the right manner towards people that they're actually physically attracted to, particularly those folks who are a catch.
Okay, we're gonna move on now because Elgin just cannot fucking help himself. This nigga, Lily,
Don't apologize.
I'm not apologizing.
Listen,
I'll
okay.
let you apologize for yourself because I didn't say anything of the nature. So when I get why did
It ain't too
Elgin
many
say that I'm
red-blooded
ugly?
heterosexual men who are turning down sex. And there's not too many red-blooded, unattached heterosexual men that are turning down sex with unattached, attractive catches.
No, you're 100%. But like I said, sometimes when we are in a traumatic situation,
And that's why we mentioned that.
it's irrational. Sometimes we can go to the.
And Lily, you don't want to deal with that work. So go ahead and move on, sister.
Yeah.
Let him get his therapy. Let him get his healing. And you get your back knocked out by somebody else while he's getting healing.
I still think that there's a level of outside of her stepping away from this relationship. I still think that there's a level of onus that she needs to take in this whole thing. I cannot.
Oh, this is great. I'm dying. What level? This is interesting. What level of responsibility does she have?
The worst,
because she's a catch.
Let me call this nigga's wife real quick. Tell her to get this motherfucker. Come in the room and get this motherfucking life. No, but in all honesty, I think there's a level of responsibility that she needs to take because part of it is societal, right? The worst thing that you can do is to tell a woman that you don't want to have sex with her. Because women have been conditioned to believe that all men, regardless of what they've been told, regardless of what convictions they may have, they're men. They're going to want to. And if you don't want to do that with me, something's wrong with you, not with me. That's one.
I agree with that. Yep.
Or that it can't be the case. There has to be a problem. There has to be something else going on in the background.
They're gay. Yeah.
Something else going on in the background that's causing you not to want to have sex with me. Once again, he told you up front. I know that it's not rational, but if you can't say that the pickings are trash. You find someone who's actually upfront and honest with you about where he is in his life's journey.
That's a good point.
And then be like, well, I'm 7 months in and I can't take it. It's not like the nigga lied to you. You had month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4 to be like,
that's true.
I'm not with it. I'm about to bounce. Or like you said, to have these conversations with her and find out what's going on. So like I said, she needs to take some, Lily, you got to take some onus on this shit too. At the end of the day, you're going to have to either have this conversation and say, okay, is this dude with everything else that he does for you or the way he treats you, is it worth you putting up with another whatever months, year,
whatever y'all compromise on? Sure.
Exactly, before you finally let him blow your back out.
Yeah. And I think that's an important part that you mentioned too, man, that the way society views black men, particularly. I mean, we know for years within white supremacy that we've all
animals, yes,
lustful, that we can't control ourselves, even to the point where that when we yell that we've been sexually assaulted or raped, no one believes us because we wanted it. Yeah. That's a good point. Lily, I can't wait for you to respond back to us and tell us how this went.
You know what? Please.
Matter of fact, tell him to write in because we want to hear him too. I want to know, is his name Lamont? Because it was.
Lily,
Yeah, send me a DM, please.
Lily,
I'm interested to hear the story.
thank you for writing in
I don't
spite
thank
of
you, but I will hear the rest of the
despite of
story.
Elgin's foolishness, and I don't think that you're ugly. I don't know you, but I don't believe that you're ugly the way Elgin
She's a
believes.
catch. What are you talking about?